Hi guys, I'm preparing to remove the picture tube from the enclosure of the Safari, the Philco Safari. Now, I read up a little on how I'm supposed to do it, and I took the SAMS as a reference. Now, the SAMS is really rather, I should say, very curt on what I should do. Actually, they just give two or three very short paragraphs um, in which they describe how I should remove the picture tube from the cabinet, or I should say from the chassis. Now, what they say is that, I'll take the pointer to show, what they say I should do, in no particular order that is that I should remove down there the connector from the socket of the picture tube, which is that black disc you see with the whitish wire sticking out. I should remove that first, or disconnect that first. Then I'm supposed to disconnect the high tension wire, which is this one, this red wire here, this one, which is connected all the way up to the picture tube, which is the high voltage lead, which through which the positive high voltage goes to siphon off all the unwanted electrons. Then they say that I should release or somehow slide down this assembly here. Let me see if I can, yes, this assembly. So this piece I'm pointing at, so from about here, this piece of white plastic, to all the way up here to the head of the picture tube. This part is the deflection coil, with which obviously a magnetic field is generated to deflect the electrons over the screen. So somehow I should be able to release the picture tube from this tube, really, from the deflection coil, and then I am supposed to slide it up over there. I don't know if you can see it, but let's see. Yeah, so from here you see the opening where I'm waving my pointer here, where you see the red crocodile lead. Well, there is the opening through the chassis, and I'm supposed to slide the picture tube through that opening, so up and away. So that's exactly what I'm going to try to do. So just give me a moment to set up the camera, and I'll try to give you as good a view as possible of what I'll be doing. So bear with me, because this is really very tricky work. As you can see through the bottom of the chassis, it's very cramped inside the TV, and I'll have to move very carefully so that I don't damage any important part. Once I slide out the picture tube, it's my intention to connect it up to my picture tube tester, the Sencore 133, which I have, which you see here. And I was so lucky to find an old setup chart and an old manual of the Sencore on eBay. So I'll be able to set up the Sencore 133 to test the picture tube, because as it turns out, I read the instructions, and inside the picture tube tester, if I open it up, let me show you. So inside the picture tube tester, you have a bunch of connectors which were supplied with the tester itself. Now, it turns out that to test the 2 EP4 picture tube of the Safari, you need a special connector, and ironically enough, that special connector is this one, marked special. It couldn't be more clear. So it's a sort of a special connector which if I pull it out like this, you see this is a connector which goes into the common wire lead, or I don't know how you would call this special wire, but this wire goes into the tester, and it connects up to a number of those special connectors. You see I have a second one too for testing other picture tubes. So, but according to the manual of the CR133, I'm supposed to use that special connector which is marked as special. So what I need to do is, you see a key here on the connector, and that key fits right into the slot you see here on the top of this one. So I need to slide this in, and let me see if I can do that with one hand. I don't know, let me see. No, but okay, I'll do it with two hands. I need my two hands to do it. Anyway, so what I need to do is to set up the picture tube tester, and then connect up the 2 EP4 to see whether it still works or not. So that will be the second step I'll have to take. So give me a moment to set it all up, and then we'll continue this video. A nice friend of mine was so good to give me an old box of tools. In fact, a sort of wrench like this, and I will be using this wrench wherever possible to disconnect or disassemble the picture tube from the chassis of the Safari TV. Okay, well, the first thing they say I should do is to disconnect this lead here, which is the high voltage lead. And that might not be so straightforward as it looks. I'll also need a rag to grab it, because for some mysterious reason or other, the connector, the high voltage connector, is very greasy. So maybe that's on purpose. So maybe they greased the connector with a special kind of, I don't know, contact grease or whatever, but it's very sticky and very dirty. So okay, let me take a shot at that first. So hang on, I'll show you exactly what I'm doing. So you can see the connector here, you need this green and red wire. So hang on, trying to be careful now not to ruin anything. So here we go. I'm trying to squeeze it together. Yeah, got it. Okay, so the high voltage lead is disconnected, as you can see. It's not the classical mushroom type of cap, but I suppose this will do just as well for the high voltage lead connection, so that's okay. Okay, so now the next thing to do, let me put this out of the way. The next thing I need to do is to disconnect here the connector you see here of the picture tube. So let me put down the camera first. I'm putting up the tripod so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, here we go. Okay, I think you should have a pretty good view of what I'm doing. So I have to be careful, obviously, not to... You know what? I think I will not do it in the order they say I should. I think I will disconnect the tube first, or rather unmount the tube first from its coil, from the deflection coil and the little stand on which it is resting. So let me do that first. So, although, damn, this is difficult to decide because it's such a tight spot. I need to protect the surface of the picture tube, you see, not to damage it in any sort of way. Okay, let me see. I'm gently pushing the picture tube head down while I'm trying to move the connector off, but it is hard to get in there because there's very little space, and I'm a little nervous because I really don't want to damage the picture tube in any sort of way, because I only have one, and it's a very rare picture tube too, so I'm trying to be gentle with it. So I'm trying to pry loose the connector millimeter by millimeter. Okay, I seem to be making progress. Yes, there we go. The connector is loose. Let me show you. You see? It's down there at the bottom. Where's my pointer here? Yeah. So I managed to release the connector, as you can see here. This, you know, I slid it off by gently prying with a flat screwdriver until it slid off towards the bottom of the TV chassis. So that's good. So the next thing I'll be doing is to unscrew this screw here, to which I'm pointing here, which is holding the deflection coil assembly to the tube's neck. So give me a moment to do that too. I hope you have enough of a view on it, but I think this will do. Okay, so where's my pot wrench? Okay, here it is. So here we go. Unscrewing the deflection coil assembly, and that might take a little bit of doing. As you can see, I'm working in a very cramped space here. So okay, well, here we go. Okay, the screw seems to be releasing. That's a good sign. Hang on. Sorry for that, but I really need to get my hand into the TV too. Yeah, I think it's loose enough. Yes. Let me see. Oh yeah, the picture tube is quite loose now. And that's good. That's a good sign. But I need to see whether I can push it up, as they say I should, out of the chassis. But I need to find out what's keeping it back. Hang on. There's a bit of tape here. Okay. There's a ring around the neck. Okay. Okay. We're in business. Okay. Here it comes. I hope you can see it. But I'm going to gently push the tube out of the TV. Okay, here it's coming. Okay, hang on.
Victoria was greeted by Scotland at its romantic bestsellers Tartan, and she said there were maidens dressed in their long gowns with flowers in their hair. It was a beautiful theme park.
Okay. Here we go. I managed to release the picture tube. Okay, hang on, let me put down the chassis out of the way. So this is the inside of the chassis, and as you can see now, the deflection coil is now completely empty, obviously, and by releasing this screw here, I actually managed to release the whole picture tube out of this assembly, which is nice. So it wasn't too hard to do. This piece of tape you see here was probably meant to lock this correction magnet in its proper place. I think it's the type of magnet Bob describes to trap ions from flying onto the front of the screen. You see? Let me just take it out. There you go. So this deflection magnet you see here sits at the bottom or on the neck of the tube, like this. Let me see, like this. See, it slides over the neck of the tube, like this. And well, obviously I'm not going to push it all the way up, but this is what is supposed to deflect the ions from hitting the front of the screen, which you see now here. Yeah. Okay, so hang on, let me put down the chassis.
The ballroom was graced with Gothic chandeliers.
Alright.
Albert let rip. It was Scottishness everywhere. It was a true
Okay.
Scottishness in excess.
So,
There was tartan everywhere.
as you can see,
Everybody got the decor.
this is a
Nothing
very
matched.
small
It was all
picture tube.
rather excessively
And
kind of
on it
cool
is a
version of Scotland, and Victoria
sticker.
and Albert thought
Let me see, I'll take the camera in my hands so that I can more easily show you
The room's delightful. The furniture,
the details.
everything, perfection.
Okay, so on the picture tube is, as you can see, a sticker.
Victoria sees herself, as she puts it, as the heir of the Stuart.
Yeah,
The heir of that
and the sticker says
horoscope.
it's a 6-volt
She is the inheritor of a long
filament inside of the tube, and it's a 145 milliamp heater. Underneath you can see the type number here. It's a 2EP4 here, 2EP4, and it's an original tube from Philco. Okay, all around the tube there's aqua dag, you see here, so that looks okay. It doesn't look too damaged. I wonder though why they put tape around the body of the picture tube. I see no immediate reason why one would want to do that, unless it was, of course, to hide some sort of defect. Let me see. Oh yeah, and the serial number of the picture tube is 5929, as you can see here, if I can make it focus at least. Yeah. So the picture tube serial number is 5929. But why they put sticky tape or insulation tape around the body, well, I don't know. Maybe it's to make it slide a little bit easier inside the deflection coil. Well, really, I don't know. Also, I think this tube is aluminized. If you look carefully between the front of the screen and the aquadag, you see it glistening nicely. So I think it's an aluminized tube. So which means that it probably is capable of lighting up quite brightly. The front of the screen looks okay as far as I can see. It's a little bit dirty, but it doesn't look extremely damaged or anything, so that's a good sign. And the back, well, let me see. On the deflection, see the deflection magnet foot, there's also some small print, but it doesn't immediately tell me anything meaningful, unless of course it's a Philco part number, as you can see on the deflection magnet, 76-1160. No, 11,601. Yeah, so 76-11,601. Doesn't tell me anything specific. And then the magnet part number is 76-10970-1. Nifty little thing. I suppose the dot on the magnet shows where the north pole of the magnet is. I'm not going to mess with its position. because I assume it was positioned correctly in the factory. So I'm going to leave it as it is, and then we'll see once I move it, I slide it back up the tube, what I should do with it, if I ever get it to work, of course. Okay, so now give me a moment to set the picture tube up for testing with the CR133. Okay, bear with me, guys, because this is my very first picture tube testing, and to boot with my own picture tube tester, you know, the CR133. Okay, so let me just clean it a little bit so that it's a little bit more readable. So, as you can see, most of the grime on this cloth came off the picture tube. I gave the picture tube a cleaning, nothing too radical. I just used some alcohol to clean it, and well, obviously I'm going to use some other cleaner to especially to clean the front of the screen more thoroughly. But anyway, I connected it up to the special connector, as they say in the booklet. As you can see here, the booklet says for black and white CRTs, and more specifically, as you can see at the top of the column, for the 2EP4, I'm supposed to use the special socket. So, and that's what this is. This is the special socket. Okay. Also, what it says is that the filament voltage should be set to 6 volts on the tester, and that coincides with the filament voltage on the sticker. As you can see, it's also marked 6 volts, which is just peachy. Okay, so now let's see, how do I set up my my tester? So the first step is I should set up the tester from the setup chart, so from the little booklet, and list information, tube type, filament voltage, G2 grid bias, locate the tube number that you intend to test, set the filament switch and G2 control to the settings listed in the setup chart. Okay, so the filament says 6 volts, but actually I don't want to go that high immediately, so I'm going to set it on 1 volt temporarily, and then as gradually, when I see that the tube is working normally, I'm going to heighten the voltage slowly but surely to 6 volts. I'm going to bring up the voltage to 6. But obviously I want to do that gradually, so I really don't want to take any kind of risks with the picture tube. Okay, so then next, plug in the proper cable assembly. I did that. Select this proper CRT socket. I did that. Yeah, the only exception is the socket marked special. This socket is also of a different color. Yes, that's true. It's a sort of a light brown, and the others are either black or dark brown. Okay. And the socket, blah blah blah. It's clearly marked use special socket. Indeed, they say use special socket. Okay. Then set the function switch to line adjust. Okay. Oh, and by the way, I need to set G2 voltage to 300. Okay, I set it to 300, and the grid bias range should be anywhere between 15 and 25. Okay, so let me see, the pointer is here, so anywhere between 15 and 25. So let me set it on 20, that's in between. Okay, so now let's switch on the damn thing and see if it works or not. So set the function switch to line adjust. Okay. Allow a few minutes for the CRT to warm up. Okay, now let's see. Do we see filament glow?
If the most famous Scotsman involved nowadays is a character from The Simpsons.
I can't see filament glow. But mind you, the voltage is on 1 volt. Yeah. So
Whereby that idea of Scottishness became an international brand.
Balmoral had also become a symbol of the union of the two countries.
okay, so let's put it on setting 2.
This is perhaps unique to Victoria's reign, that by her period the monarchy had become an additional keystone, an additional important support of union, in a way which monarchy had not.
Well, that's not too good. I'm not seeing any kind of glow.
Representation of Britishness
As you can see, I'm pointing the camera to where the filament should be,
in a very explicit sense, not only by
and I'm at 2 volts now.
Scotland's identity.
Don't see any glow. Okay, let's go to 3 volts.
In 1861, Prince Albert became seriously ill.
And, well,
Victoria Redmond Walter Scott
that's certainly not a good sign. But then again, it's possible that the filament is so encapsulated that it's impossible to see. But okay, well, I still see no glow. Okay. So,
While Victoria grieved for Albert, Aberdeen
okay,
for the Queen in her
I'm on setting 3. So,
Victoria was devastated. And that
let's
meant
go
that
up
she
to
was
4 volts.
changed after Albert died. And so Balmoral became a kind of
Well,
museum. Balmoral became
I should be seeing. Oh.
And the children were certainly through the world just
Oh.
hate going there. Because it was also sort of
Hang on.
regimented and gloomy.
Something went wrong. There was some smoke coming out of the CRT tester.
politician
Oh, that's not good. Okay, so hang on. I need to unmount or disassemble the CRT tester and see what's going on. Give me a moment. Well, testing the picture tube is not going to be straightforward because, as you can see, this is the inside of the picture tube tester, and well, at the bottom of the picture tube tester I found this power resistor, which looks slightly roasted or charred. Well, not very, but anyway, it's loose. So I don't know quite yet where this resistor comes from, where it was originally attached to, but it seems like, well, the solder, it heated up so much, the solder just let go of the resistor and the resistor dropped to the bottom of the casing. So, well, I guess restoring the Philco Safari has now become a restoration project for the CR133. How nice. Well, okay, so I'm sorry guys, I'm afraid I will have to break off the testing of the picture tube for now and concentrate on repairing my picture tube tester, the Sencore 133. I might even make a mini series on it. I felt I shouldn't let you guys down and show you well, I felt I needed to give it just another try and figure out whether the picture tube was working or not. So obviously, without the picture tube tester, the Sencore, I can't do all the necessary tests. But what I can do is, with the help of a multimeter, which you see here, is test whether there is continuity on the picture tube. Now, I went to the radiomuseum.org website to get the pin layout of the 2EP4, which you see down there at the bottom. So, it are the pins around the key of the connector. So as you can see, I connected it up to crocodile leads, and I'm going to switch on the voltmeter and see whether the resistance reads 0 or not. Okay, I disconnected from the leads, so now it should read infinity. Let's see. Yes, it reads infinity. Okay, so now let's connect the lead up to the heater. Hang on. And there you go, success. So yes, in all likelihood, the heater filament of the picture tube is okay. So at least we know now that the heater was probably not heating up, or the filament wasn't glowing, because there was something wrong with the Sencore. So ironically, like I just said, the series for restoring the Philco Safari has now become officially a new series for restoring the Sencore CR133. So thanks again for watching the video, guys, and I'll be back soon with an update on the Philco.